I'm so glad to see you all. And I really come here, actually. And actually, this is the reason why I love all of you more. Last time, we were talking about motivation and trusting in God. And I wanna talk about relationship with God. So relationship with people and with God are a bit different from each other, from Old Testament and New Testament. I was growing in God's family, and from my childhood, I've been explained that Jesus is my best friend, and you need to build relationship with him from like early ages. But all things that you actually get used to this, and you lose this value, you lose this appreciation, and it doesn't really mean to you a lot, and you've never thought about the big importance of this. So I actually questioned myself, what is kind of like friendship with Jesus is. So I always had a relationship with Jesus, and it doesn't mean like I wasn't a friend of him or I didn't build a relationship with him, but it wasn't. I couldn't actually call this friendship. We were actually like working together more. So Jesus was my boss, and it's very easy to deal with him. It's very having good relationship with him, and he's gonna send you to some hard assignments because you are his best workers. And I was participating in all projects that actually were in church. So and you can sit after work, and you can share. You can share with him like or something happened in your life, and you just spend time together with this boss, but not you share work problems and maybe joys or maybe some achievements, but then you just set apart and maybe like personal, like very intimate joys and intimate feelings I didn't actually share with him. And I understood that there is a big difference between to be friends and to be colleagues, to be partners. And I'm one of those people who is very quick in having relationship with everyone, and at any place it would be easy for me to build relationship with everyone, but it's gonna be until I work. So, but if I go far away or I change workplace, I'm sure that I'm gonna lose all my friends because that's why it was sad for me when I was moving. So, and then I started understanding that the base of our friendship was like, hey, it was like common thing for us, common work. So, and my friendship, I just decide. So like I know that if I stop ministering, if I stop serving, my relationship with God could be over because I actually built my relationship on something that we do together. And I would like to read with you. It's John 15, and from the beginning, 15th verse. I wanna start with this verse actually. I no longer call you slaves because the master doesn't confine on these slaves. Now you're my friends since I have told you everything the Father told me. Jesus told in New Testament, he said, I don't want to be your boss. Maybe it was like this a long time ago, but I don't call you slaves or co-workers. I want you to be my friends, and besides, he does it first. you don't need to chase Jesus and trying to make friends with him. He comes today and he says, "I want to be a friend." I called this sermon "Let's be friends," and it was so easy for us to do when we were children, and they just started building a relationship and without any kind of seeking something yours. So and right now, it's actually uh, it's actually hard to do. So maybe it's hard or scary, or maybe he wants something from me. Maybe he thinks something about me, and hey, let's be friends. Let's let's. Why can't we be all friends together? Okay, I think I finished because you got my thought. You got my idea. And that's what Jesus does. He comes and says, "Let's not work together, but like, let's be friends together, and everything we're gonna do together. Not because I pay you salary, but because it's our common business. Uh, that's what we do together, and because we're friends and we share our goals and ideas and dreams." And the hardest thing in friendship is that friendship has two sides. The relationship is like something hard. We don't understand ourselves sometimes, so we cannot deal with ourselves. And if there is one more person appears, we just get lost sometimes, and we don't know what kind of expectations he has, and he doesn't know our expectations, and how much time can we spend with them, and how are we looking at the world. And the easiest way from this situation is sharing, talking about our expectation, and to offer, I see like this. And how do you look like? How do you look at this? And it's a risk. It's a certain risk, and you may be opened yourself. You offered, and maybe you're gonna be actually rejected. So you're afraid of this. But what Jesus does, he does first step. He says, "I told you everything that I heard from my Father." And the verse before and after, you can see this, that Jesus actually is saying about his expectations from us. So if you read from 13th verse, you can see what he's talking about this. "There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I don't call you friends because a master doesn't confide in his slaves. Now you're my friends, and I have told you everything the Father told me. You didn't choose me, I chose you. I appointed you to go and produce lasting fruit, and that the Father will give you whatever you ask for using my name." Jesus says about his expectations. He comes first and says, "Hey, let's be friends," and he raises us up, and he doesn't demand what he gave, and he doesn't demand us to pursue him. He comes and says, "Hey, let's be friends," and also he says what he actually implies by what he's talking about. So, for example, like I actually stumbled before when I was reading this verse. There is no greater love than you lay down one's life for one's friends. So you're kind of like you put conditions before you, and he calls us friends, but kind of like on his conditions. But then I understood that he's not talking about us. He's talking about, yeah, I have a picture about friendship. And if you want to be my friend, if you want to respond my call, and I'm gonna actually say how to do this. Maybe you agree that friendship is made up by God, and He has the best recipe for this, and He knows how to do it best. And if you ask Jesus, how can I be a friend? And He's gonna talk to you. If you wanna be my friend, ask me, and I will tell you. And then you can be my friends. And the most interesting, any kind of relationship that demanding that it's time, attention, fellowship. As far as Jesus, He wants to be spent time, shared. He wants to meet you with closest friends, so you keep in touch, you call to each other at least sometimes to share what actually happened to you. And you can ask just stupid questions. How was your day? Or what did you think about, like, what kind of plans you have for tomorrow or for 5 years? What upset you? What you have problems at work? So these are the questions that are really interesting, for the people who are actually interested in you. And it's gonna be just from both sides. Why? Why? Why do we want to be a friend with Jesus, but just praying in the morning? Maybe Jesus is interested in what are you dreaming about? What do you think about tomorrow? Or maybe about 5 years of my life? And maybe the same Jesus is actually thinking that actually you ask him what plans does he have, plans, what upsets him, and what makes him joyful, makes him happy. He wants to participate, even if he knows everything. This knowledge doesn't give you anything. We're not sharing facts or knowledges. We are sharing what we experience. We're sharing feelings how we see it. So maybe Jesus is the one who you need to take to your favorite places. Maybe to invite him to the seaside and to show him the place where you work. Maybe he knows everything, yes. But you want to show your friend how you love the city. Maybe he's gonna show you another side of your coworkers or the street where you live, or maybe neighbors who you live with. And if you really want to have friendship with Jesus, spend time with him, and actually like invite Jesus. Go from work and just ask him for a cup of coffee instead of just having fellowship at a workplace. You can come to cafeteria and invite Jesus with you. It's not like necessary to go with the big company, but just like go for a cup of coffee with Jesus and having an evening with Jesus and spend this time how it's actually done for any kind of friends, and how you want to spend time with a friend. And so how I told, and Jesus is gonna give you everything to learn how to befriend. He's gonna tell you about his expectations, how should we behave, and how actually you wanna be actually related. So one of his wishes is we're gonna read one more verse, higher and lower, from the 12th. So the most important things. This is my commandment: love each other in the same way I have loved you. There is no greater love that no lay down one's life for one's friends. You're my friends if you do what I command. This is the same story about Jesus calling us friends, and he starts from the moment that he is saying to us to love each other, and he ends now. So he actually finishes his thoughts like love each other, and I think that he wants it not because it needs to be like this, but it's gonna help us to build relationship with God, because God, he is invisible friend, and it doesn't matter how invisible God is. It's very hard to build relationship without spending time. So, if First John, we love each other because He loved us first. If someone says, "I love God," but hates a fellow believer, that person is a liar. For we don't love people we can see. How can we love God whom we cannot see? And He has given us His command. Love God must also love their fellow believers. So we actually are given to each other to practice, to love God invisible who lives inside of each heart of ours, that we could actually have friendship between us, and any kind of wrong things that we do, or maybe we cannot stop doing, maybe bad habits or something else, he wants us to learn to love each other, to love that God that lives inside of your neighbor, and in every heart of yours, God lives, and it's so awesome that we're given to each other to train, to love on visible, to practice on visible friends. Yeah, he can tell us so many things. How can we build relationship, and what should we do for this friendship? But how can we check it out? Does it work or not? Can we actually understand what God actually talked to us, or does it actually build relationship or destroys it? Maybe we're not too sure if God says to us or not. People would say to you if you do wrong in a direct way. And it's so awesome that we have friends and we can build relationship with them and also spend time with them. And I believe that the relationship with people is the most significant indicator for our relationship with God. If we want to have fellowship, a relationship, if we learn to listen to others, we're going to be attentive to God. If this is the period that we don't want to talk to anyone, you want to spend time by ourselves or ignoring everyone, or just just being in our problems, or just be patient with other people is not for us. So you can ask yourself, can I be patient with God? Can I listen to God? Am I ready to this? Maybe he's gonna say to you not really pleasant things. Maybe I'm gonna tired of him. Maybe I don't want to share with him. Nothing. Maybe I want to finish my work day. to work it out and just to do whatever is demanded as fast as I can, maybe to minister to the end and escape to my home, to my silence, to my problems, that no one could just crawl inside of my private, intimate life. Maybe it's gonna be for you red light that probably the relationship with God is not real good. That maybe you need to look from a different point of view. Maybe your priorities, maybe your open or closed heart. Maybe you need to find just one person and God and just a bit step by step, just to give them a chance to listen. Maybe they're not gonna do everything, and maybe it's gonna seem to you, hey, it doesn't work. Why should I waste my time? Why should I just spend this time for him? But like, let's work it out. If you don't have work, hey, leave me alone. Like I'm exhausted. Like I'm tired. And that was my period of life. But now I'm sharing with you my real relation, how I actually understood for myself and my relationship with God. And I'm sure that there's gonna be someone who's gonna take something from from what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't see. Maybe you don't see any changes, or maybe you start having a relationship with Jesus and your life just got upside down and everything is different. No, who's your best friend and you just like first day you met with him, you just like trust him 100% and you never just distrusted him. So like your relationship would be different and it takes time, so much time. And if you wanna build relationship with God or people, it's so good, but you need to work hard at this. God is interested, and He's the first who's interested. That He wants to chase you. He wants to pursue you and saying, "Hey, let's be friends. Come, let's be friends. Do you wanna just turn around, stop, and try?" Maybe he's gonna help you. He's ready to do all the steps. He's the first who said, "I love you the most," and he died because this is the highest level of love, and we're still not sure he wants to be friends with us or not. He is sure for sure. Maybe I want to encourage you. Maybe if you have this problem, maybe with God, maybe with people, maybe with this or that, with both sides, and you cannot really start. So that can be a day. That can be first day of Jesus' friendship with you. Maybe nothing's gonna change in a moment. It's gonna take some efforts, your attention, and work at yours, and people and friends. You need to tune on each other's waves, and nobody likes it actually. But if you want to be friends with Jesus, He's gonna teach you how, and He's gonna give you some strength to be friends, to move, to love, to accept, to be patient, because He's doing this, and He's gonna share His secret with you. He's gonna give you strength to do. And I wanted to pray with you for myself that I could be really enough to build this kind of relationship. Maybe someone wants to build a relationship with God, but it's not actually get to the level of friendship. So I would love to pray for you. Just make this day first that you actually became friends with. If you already friends and no level of perfection here, so let's go on. And I want to pray about this. And anybody who wants to do this, let's pray with me. Dear Jesus, I am so grateful that you wanna do the first step, that you always do first step towards us, and you want to be a friend with us. And you're ready to explain, and you're ready to teach us how to be friends rightly and who are friends. And I'm blessing everyone who is watching this recording, and please teach me how to be friends. Teach me how not to give up. Let's just teach me how not pursue the science. Just teach me how to share, how to spend time with you. Just show me that you are the first interested person who wants to share your time with me, and show me how you do this with us, and just open our heart more. Show each one. Just show us any kind of like little action that can get us a little closer to each other. Let's look at some perspective, God, your perspective, and just to love your neighbor in the first case. Because that would be enough strength to cover imperfections of each other and to love you, God, that lives inside of each other. I thank you that you are the first who wants to love, who offers to be friends, and who is ready to stay friend when we are not faithful, when we cannot make it. And thank you, Jesus, for this. Amen. And right now we're going to have time when you can spend this time with Jesus, and you can ask Jesus some questions that's really you're interested with and interested in, and maybe who should I be friend with and how. And they're gonna be one song. We also prepared for you the communion. Yeah, really try, take a risk to be friends with Jesus, because he risked everything, and he wants this the most, that you would do the next step towards him. I tried, and I hope that I'm gonna make it, and I believe that it's gonna be a wonderful step for you as well. Amen.